Always ambitious, and we started in '78 in distribution because this market was two-wheel drive tractors, four-wheel drive tractors was a trend overseas which we picked up. I mean, New Zealand's a hill country market, four-wheel drive tractors which is just the standard today. And I think we led that market by importing tractors ourselves and then setting up distribution. Everyone has dreams, and if you haven't got dreams, you've got nothing. And we dreamt that we were going to, be successful, and we were, but I mean, whatever we thought we are, we probably exceeded that by 5 or 10 times.
Some cool memories. I remember, I guess, at the very start of power farming as a wholesale business, Dad had imported, maybe half a dozen Iseki tractors out of Japan. For whatever reason, we couldn't have those on the yard. They were a bit, under wraps before we launched them, and they were in our garage. I must have been 2-3 years old, and thought all my Christmases had come at once. Had all these tractors to play on. The kids over the fence had little toy ones. I had real ones in the garage. That was pretty cool until Dad sold them all, and they all disappeared. I remember being pretty upset and chased the truck down the road and sort of wondered where all my tractors had disappeared to. Dad would disappear and obviously spent a lot of time up in Japan, which was pretty cool back in the day. He'd come back with little gadgets and stuff that you couldn't get in New Zealand. Looking back on it now, he was away a heck of a lot, understand why. It's all that we know. When Dad was here, like everything that he's always done, he's a million miles an hour. But obviously, looking back on that now, he did sacrifice a lot to be away to make sure the business succeeded and to forge those relationships with our key suppliers. It's probably now you're sort of like, because I like to coach kids' rugby teams, that sort of stuff, and you sort of sit here and you go, well, Dad never kind of did any of that. But then there's a lot of kids whose parents didn't quite have the time to be able to do it. I think Dad often sits back and probably half of him sort of says, how can you afford all that time off work? At the same time is probably quietly happy that we can afford a little bit of time off work to be able to do those things, because he didn't get a chance to do them.
Even though I was running a strong business and doing stuff like, and travelling quite a lot, I didn't feel disconnected in any way. Obviously, Mum was always there. School holiday meant travelling around New Zealand.
A wonderful trip to the South Island was me, Mum, Craig, and in a car sort of sitting outside dealerships, Dad sort of saying, I'll be 5 minutes, and 5 minutes
often turned into an hour or two. We did get to see a lot of New Zealand when we were young, and that was pretty cool, and we got to experience some pretty cool things as well. So we didn't know any other way, so I guess that's just how it was, and always thought it was reasonably fun. Waiting in the car got a bit boring,
and he's just talking and finding out things. And I mean, if you've met Dad, he certainly knows how to talk, and I think he uses that to his advantage. He's got this incredible ability to extract all the information that he needs out of you without you knowing it, which is pretty awesome. Obviously, knowledge is power in our business, and the amount he knows about what's going on in the industry is just because he simply gets out there and talks to people.
Had lots of ups and downs on the way. It's not always been smooth sailing. We had downturn in 1988 when the share market crashed, and the governments here cut all the support for farmers overnight. To give you an idea, there were 39 companies importing tractors and machinery in New Zealand. Within 3 years from there, 34 of those had disappeared or closed their doors or amalgamated, and we were one of those 5 companies left, and we took over some of the other opportunities, and that's where we got into from tractors and machinery. Sometimes downturns give opportunities, but we've had some tough times. That's probably been our secret. We've got some great guys, and like Ken Bill, 50 odd years, but he's one of a lot of people that have been with us a long time.
52 years, yes, if you consider term spent 16 years at Maber Motors under Laurie Maber's reign. Kevin Stowers, who was the company secretary, would probably beg to differ slightly.
Well, I started power farming in 1981, and Ken started before me, but he actually left for 6 months for other employment. So I always claimed that I was employed for longer as a continuous period.
He had probably 40 odd years uninterrupted, so I haven't been the 52 years in full at power farming.
I started in 19 1979. It was a part-time job at Maber Motors. I came in around about the 20th of every month to help out with payables, and in those days I was handwriting out cheques.
I can remember Jim Stevens saying to me one day, he says, "Ken, how would you fancy going on the road?" I said, "Yeah, I could do it." And he says, "Well, you get no more pay, but you can take a van home at night." And I think really, I'm 68 now, I've had a vehicle for like 50 odd years. If I was 18 when I started that game, I've had a company vehicle, thank you Jeffrey and Laurie, for the last 50 years of keeping me mobile.
Ken Bill employed me on the 5th of December 1983. I started with the company and then went through my apprenticeship into field service. Then I moved into service manager, and then Jeff asked me if I'd have a go at sales.
Through a job advertised at Power Farming Wholesale, so I went across there, and the first person I ever met from Wholesale was Ken Bill. Had a good chat to Ken. In the end of it, he suggested I apply for a job at retail. Had been a mechanic and stuff, so I went and saw and met Jamie Odlum.
I think one of the best parts of growing up in the Maber family, being involved in the company, is that you were actually embraced with the family. If Jeff and Linda were heading to Australia and we were going to see a dealership or we're launching something in Australia, my wife Rena would be invited along as well. Jeff would treat you very well. And Linda, you were totally regarded as part of the family.
We went to Australia, took the family there, moved there for a year in 83, 84.
Yeah, I mean, the first time we went over, we come out of living in Morrinsville, which, you know, it's a great place, but it's a pretty small country town. You know, weather's not that great in winter. And then we carted over and get put in an apartment in Surfers Paradise and go into a school, you know, 5 minutes from the beach. I mean, it was pretty, I was 8 years old. I think my brother must have been 5 or 6. So pretty cool adventure for us. I mean, the weather's good, you're running, your backyard's a beach.
We built up the Iseki brand, went very nicely, and got a phone call 5, 6 years later that they were going to stop building large tractors. They weren't making money, they couldn't compete. You know, we had pack up and come home. We came back with heavy hearts after that.